Welcome back to my Final Fantasy XIV drama series. Today's drama story is about the crafting slave. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I feel like this bun boy in the red jacket is just staring into my soul. Let's just begin. I started playing Final Fantasy XIV around 2 years ago, during the height of the pandemic. A handful of IRL friends that I've known for several years got me into the game, and I was amazed by how nice and friendly the community was compared to other MMOs I've played. We all started as Sprouts, and since we were all on the free trial, we didn't have our own FC yet or anything. Thus, we made it one of our goals to make our own FC once we were able to do so. We always did content together, going through new dungeons and learning our jobs and roles slowly. By the time that we reached Heavensward and finished the free trial, one of my friends, Asan, the letter A-S-A-N, Asan. One of my friends, Asan, established our very own FC. By this time, I was in some FC, a friend invited me to, that was with members who were all from the same country as I am. I didn't really click with the other members there except for my friend. So I said my goodbyes and joined Asan's new FC. Asan got 3 of us to join, and we only needed a good name. After some brainstorming, they settled on my suggestion because it was catchy and cool, and it looked silly as an FC tag. I felt proud that I was able to determine our FC's name. Asan eventually invited his partner, Y-San, over to the FC, who I also know IRL. I feel like the Y-San, A-San is gonna get a little confusing as names. Y-San will be a crucial character in this story later. The FC was small because it only just had us IRL friends who decided to band together. Eventually, we opened membership to friends of friends. But as we started getting into Shadowbringers, things were starting to change. While the rest of the group were starting to get into raiding and other high-end content, I became more focused on crafting and housing. Before playing 14, I used to design a lot of houses and rooms on a certain simulation game for quite some time. One of my initial draws to the game was the opportunity to design player housing, and I wanted to focus on that. Then enters an old IRL friend who is a returner to the game. Let's call him H-San. Okay, so we got A-San, Y-San, and H-San. A-San was always busy with his IRL job, so Y-San and H-San became the FC's de facto leaders and close buddies. I was an officer, being one of the founding members, along with a handful of others. My main responsibility was making raid food for the group, since at the time I was the only one who had leveled crafters and gatherers to max. Call me the FC's quartermaster, if you will. I kept all the food on me and gave them their lunch whenever they raided. We didn't have an FC house at the time, so we always stayed at this specific spot in Ulda's Aetherite Plaza. A few months passed and we were able to buy our very own FC house from someone who had a solo FC and was transferring to another data center. FC ownership transferred over to Y-San, and we all left the original FC to join the new one. I was the richest member at the time, as he should be because he's an Omnicrafter. So I helped finance the purchase of the FC and its house. A small house it may have been, but it was our FC's very first home. We changed the FC's original name to our own, and we were no longer homeless. Oh, that must have been an exciting moment. Like just getting your first FC, its FC house. But the FC house was bare, and I asked Y-San and the others if they would let me decorate it. They allowed me to, and even gave me gil for furnishings to get started. We decided on the theme, and I got straight to work. I finished decorating the place in 2 days, and everyone was amazed with what I did. Eventually, we got an FC chest inside and a company workshop, and I helped manage those things as well. By this time, I was a bit behind on content because I was more focused on crafting and other things, so I usually asked for help from Y-San and the others if I needed it. While I did get help for the most part, There were times when they couldn't or didn't want to help me at all. I understand if they're busy with something, but it started to become worse over time. Aww, so he helps them so much with their raids with like giving them pots and potions, and it just feels like they're not really helping him back. The main reason I banded with them was to have people to do content with. Y-san harshly told me before, just use Party Finder to help, jeez. And I felt really hurt by that. With the exception of duty roulettes, I disliked making party finders with strangers. I'd rather do content with people I'm familiar or comfortable with. So true. Like, someone told me the other day, like, you could do more savage raiding with people outside of the static and just go in party finder. And I was like, nah, I don't really want to do that alone. I like playing with friends. That's why the only time I do savage raiding is like with my static for the re-clear days. And we don't go outside of that. And I'm just like, I want more sometimes, but I don't want to go alone in Party Finder. So I just like making Party Finders with strangers. I'd rather do the content with people I'm familiar or comfortable with. Imagine clearing Heavensward together and having a G pose after beating Thordan. We did that together. This was different in Shadowbringers, where I was luckily able to get a Q from Duty Finder and cleared the dying gas with strangers. I stood alone in the arena after the fight, feeling a bit lonely that I would be the only one G-posing after beating Hades. Aww. I started to think that my friends didn't care about me and were only using me to keep the FC running. H-san even remarked, just craft food for us and we'll help you with stuff, okay? They rarely did though. It came to the point where every time I asked for help with clearing something, Y-san and the others were usually busy. I checked where they were. They were always progging a savage or something. Eventually, I started caring less about them and made new friends. Most of them the same race as I am and from different countries. I was also able to get a small house of my own later, being incredibly lucky with the sign clicking. Didn't do savages, but did the savage housing. I started decorating a lot more that time. And wouldn't you know it, people started asking me if I did housing commissions. I received my very first commission from a friend and started designing their house. From that point on, I kept taking more and more commissions until I became one of the richest members in the FC. Later, a friend from another FC, who was also its FC leader, approached me if I could work on their FC house, which was a large. But in order to do that, I had to leave my current FC, so I told Y-san and the others in the FC that I'll be leaving the FC for a few weeks to work on this commission. I'm not sure if they were outright ignoring me, but I didn't get a reply. So then I temporarily joined my friend's FC, which had a lot of members, which also explains why they have a large house. 2 weeks passed and I finished designing their FC house with a huge payment as well. I said goodbye to the FC leader and the friends I made there, returning to my original FC. But when I got invited back to my original FC, Y-san was furious. Why did you suddenly go off and join another FC? You're our quartermaster. You're supposed to be providing us with raid food and managing our airships and subs. Do you know how much raid food costs nowadays? This is just a part of what Y-san said because the entirety of it was a whole lecture. H-san also added his own opinion and ganged up on me along with Y-san. The other members at least thought that Y-san and H-san were being too harsh with me, so they let it go and eventually cooled off. By this time, I was already thinking to myself, why did I come back here? Is it because they're my IRL friends? Or that because we're all from the same country? I continued doing my usual tasks in the FC while taking only private estate commissions on the side for more income. By this time, I just wanted to leave them behind and start looking for another FC. Later, I got another FC comm request from a close friend named J-san. We got a J now. Soon it'll be the whole alphabet for his solo FC. Thinking about how this could be my ticket out of my current FC, I told my FC that I'll be leaving to work on a commission again. Y-san was available at the time that I said that and said, okay, but come back after you're done. Half of me wanted to leave them permanently, but the other half of me wanted to stay with Jason and his solo FC. My current FC by this time had already bloated to around 40 plus members. 3/4 of them people who think like Y-San, always raiding. It became too raid focused already and no longer an FC for friends. Sure, I have friends who raid, but if you're surrounded by people who always talk about raiding, it gets tiring. I can see why he thinks that way because he's not raiding himself. So like, if you're not doing certain content and you're in an FC where everyone's just talking about that content, it's like, you're like, it's not your interest, you know? He's interested in housing and designing and crafting and gathering. Jason and I clicked really well in his little FC. It was just him, his partner, and 2 high-end raider friends. They didn't have plans to expand on anything. They were very chill. One thing all the members had in common is that we all liked to PvP. This was before the main update with CC, Crystal Conflict. We knew how PvP worked before it became immensely popular. I designed their little house as a venue, and it became popular for quite a while because it was the only one of its kind in our data center. Ooh, so it had like a special theme to it. We got many visits from all kinds of people who wanted to see the house and even native Japanese players, all of them leaving nice comments about how they like our house. Then came Y-San and H-San. They asked me when I was coming back, but I told them I'll stay with J-San for a while. The 2 of them were rude. They went around my design, nitpicking everything about it, like why I didn't position a certain object a certain way, or why I didn't use the whole space of the house. Oh, we were just talking about that with this house. Like, you don't, when you're designing like to make it like a cozy with lots of little items, you're not using the whole house space. That's how it is when you do like those little designs. These 2 know nothing about housing or design in general, and they got mad even after I explained slot limitations. At that point, I decided to stay in J-San's FC indefinitely. A few months after Endwalker came out, Imperium was released, and on Y-San's FC Discord server, things were abuzz about how the FC might be able to finally relocate to a large after getting so many members. H-San contacted me and asked if I was available to return to the FC and help design the place if they get a large house. I don't know why I said yes, but I agreed and even discussed a few things with him. My terms were simple. Get a large plot and I'll come back to the FC to design it for free of charge, and even return as quartermaster. H-San agreed. I told J-San about this and he allowed me to return to my old FC if they did get a large. And then on my old FC's Discord, I saw that they won the lottery for the large FC plot. I said goodbye to J-San and left for my old FC's new large plot, expecting to be welcomed back. I approached Y-San, H-San, and the others who had gathered in front of the plot to congratulate them. Even A-San and a few others were there after a long hiatus, so I felt happy to see them. I did get an invite back, but it wasn't from any of the core members who I'm friends with. It was from some person I didn't know in the FC. I asked for my old rank back so that I could start designing the place, but then Y-San told me, "Oh, no need. We already hired another designer to work on the house." I was furious. I wanted to say so many things, but the words wouldn't come out. Y-San was not being a friend at this point. Would I even call them a friend at all? I asked H-San how this happened and that we had an agreement, and he just laughed at me. I crafted raid food for them. I decorated their first house for them. I helped their Sprout friends through content. I managed the FC inventory and fleet. I was one of their founding members, and this is how they treat me? I should add, whenever FC newbies asked for help, Y-San would drop everything and help, but whenever I did, I was ignored. In my rage, I ranted about it in their FC Discord. A very short 3-sentence rant. Thank you for inviting me back, but I don't think this FC wants me anymore. You have disrespected me for the last time. So that's what the OP said in their Discord. The next day, I was pinged on the server with a very long lecture from Y-san in the general channel. They were surprised to find out that this is how I felt about them after all this time. It was a long, winded way of saying sorry, but the tone was insincere and felt like, we're sorry, but it's still your fault. I told them that things between us will never be the same again, so I left for good and returned to J-San's FC. Being in a small FC with real friends is much better than a large FC with IRL friends, and that's what I've learned. I haven't removed Y-san and H-san from my friends list at the behest of A-san. We are all still friends, but they are basically strangers to me now. My old FC was great, but it was the shortcomings of Y-san and H-san that made me leave. While they may have done a few things to me, like surprise me for my birthday by giving me a Mog Station mount or give me priority in loots, their other deeds overshadowed the good ones. Whenever I see Y-san or H-san in-game, I am incredibly cold now. I no longer acknowledge their presence or greet them warmly like I used to. H-san would attempt to poke me or say hi, but I also ignore him. Y-san, however, just doesn't acknowledge me at all, even when I'm at their FC events. I still attend their FC events because I'm still friends with other people there, like the Sprouts who I took care of, who have now become veteran players. They often ask me for housing advice and I feel honored. I can probably forgive H-san because I've known him IRL for a long time, but Y-san? I'm not really sure. It just has been quite some time since I left them. I'm in a much happier place now with real friends like J-san and the others, just chilling in our new medium FC house and doing PvP content together. Thank you so much for reading my drama story. Have a good day. The end. I think the issue was, like, it felt like they were using him a bit, because it's like, I would feel so bad if I was asking, like, if a whole static in an FC was just asking this one person to craft everything for the whole static, and they weren't even in the static. You know, they don't get the joys of actually playing in the static. So, like, currently in my static right now, the guy who actually offered to craft our gear and our food and our pots, he plays with us, so that's why he'd never feel bad about it. He gets to enjoy the fun with us as a group. The OP was crafting everything for them and not being part of the fun, so of course he's gonna naturally feel left out. And then just getting mad that he left to design another FC, and they're like, why did you leave? You're the person that does everything for us. I can see why he felt bad. Yeah, using him a bit. I don't know if this was something they planned to do. Like, I don't know. I think he said yes without fully knowing that it was going to turn out being this way. He probably thought maybe later down the road he could do high-end content with them, but he got, of course, you know, people get distracted with doing other things in the game. And because he was distracted with other things, which is fine, I think they should have felt bad in a sense to ask this one person that's not even doing savages for all these things. Maybe they should have just started asking someone else to, like, help out, not just this one person. Having an extra person, like, start crafting potions and pots could, like, help out the OP, get some weight off his shoulders. This story sounds very similar to the video emote. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. I remember watching that. That little Lala did everything for their friends. And then they just, like, yes, it's exactly like the emote story. If you guys watched that, at least they didn't hide their intention of using. I give credit to it. Yeah, they were open about it. Yeah, that's why it makes me think, like, maybe it was just something that was openly talked about in the beginning. But yeah, over time, like, you gotta have some empathy, you know? Like, maybe none of them really thought about his position. They got so used to, like, oh, this person provides us with everything, and they got, I guess, carried away. They're like, yep, no, you're supposed to keep giving us stuff. What are you doing? I have friends who offer to create pots and food for me, or even, like, glam items that I like. Part of me feels a little bad. Like, if they've given me, like, 5 or more things already at this point, I'm just like, I ask them, are you sure you don't need anything? And they're like, no, I'm fine. Like, you really gotta ask them, like, are you sure? If they really want to do it, then that's amazing. Like, usually they do it and just give it to me. Like, it's not me, like, specifically going asking and asking and asking. Like, if I kept asking them, like, I'd seem like a really annoying person. Like, they might not actually want to do it for me if I keep asking them, you know? So I think that's what happened. I think the FC just kept asking him, and it was just like, oh my gosh. I just noticed the guy under the cabinet to the left. Let me see. Under the... See, someone on YouTube is going to write that in the comments. Like, who's the guy underneath that chest? Okay, let's go to the beachfront, guys, and take a group photo. I can't figure out how to get out of the house. Neo Yoshi just whispered me, no, he wasn't in the photo. I want to say thank you for everyone who came out to my first YouTube live stream, and thank you to the people who took such beautiful shots of everyone there. All the photos are currently displayed in my Discord, and I hope to see you in my next YouTube live stream. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this Final Fantasy XIV drama story. If you have any of your own drama stories that you'd like me to share and read out anonymously, feel free to reach out to my Discord, discord.gg/Pathra.